Hey everyone, Nick from Wellable here again with another Whiteboard Wednesday session. Last week we had a really popular post on the math behind blood testing, so we thought it only appropriate to have another math exercise for this week's session. Specifically, we're going to talk about the hidden costs of wellness spreadsheets. Many employers use Excel, Google Docs, things like that to manually manage their wellness program. Intuitively makes sense. You don't have to pay a vendor, you can save that money. But when you think about the cost of the time it takes to manage that, both from the management and administration perspective as well as the employee perspective, we think it makes sense to invest in software when appropriate or automation features when appropriate to help reduce those costs and invest your time into more valuable opportunities. So we want to go through a math exercise that explains that. So here, there are two elements of cost from a time perspective. As I mentioned, the administration, which is the HR person or the wellness coordinator or things like that, and then the employee reporting. So if you're doing Excel or Google Docs, the employee has to either email out their activities, maybe go to the doc themselves, enter it in, things like that. It's not automatically syncing to any type of device. That's the two big areas of time. So the first calculation is the cost per hour. We assumed here the average hourly rate is $20. One thing to note, all these assumptions obviously can be flexible. Your employees may have a higher average cost, a lower average cost, things like that. So it's just an example, but you can kind of get the sense of how it works. Average hourly rate, $20 for both the employee and the HR professional, roughly equates to around $40,000 a year. Then you have taxes, benefits, other costs, so fully loaded expenses. You do the math, you get roughly $27.60 for both the employee side and the HR side per hour. So how many hours does it take to administer a program? Our example said, let's run 2 challenges for 6 weeks, so a total of 12 weeks of work. For the HR side, the wellness side, 30 minutes a day or roughly 2.5 hours a week. This includes things like onboarding users, handing out rewards, sending out emails, all the kind of intricate tasks you have to do to actually run a wellness challenge efficiently. They don't always equally spread out across the 6 weeks. Sometimes they're front loaded, but roughly 2.5 hours a week is what it takes. From the employee reporting side, it's roughly 2 minutes a day. It doesn't seem like that much, but you're talking about 12 weeks of time. You're talking about potentially several employees. They have to log in, take time out of their day, go to Google Docs, send that email. That time starts adding up. From an administration perspective, you only really need one person, so one dedicated person putting this time in. Do the math of amount of hours, the hourly average rate, the number of people, and you get roughly $1,100 of cost per year to administer or manage that challenge. Where the costs really start adding up is on the employee side. So same hourly rate, less hours, but we have more people. So in this case, we have 100 participants. In the participant section, what really matters here, these are true people participating in the challenge. It's not your per eligible population. So you can't have 500 employees, but if you have 100 participating, that's really reflective of this example. But you do the math here, you have almost $8,000 of expenses. Add the two costs up, nearly $9,000 of total cost to manage a program in terms of the time used by the employee and the administration person. That's fairly expensive. For a group of 100 participants, you probably could require software or other automation tools that can make it more efficient to use. And then what we find also is not only are you saving dollars from a cost perspective, but the user experience is better for the employee. They're syncing their devices, all this automatic, things like that. We hope that drives up your participation because ease of use is better. And then it opens and frees up time from the HR person's perspective to allow them to invest in other higher value, cultural, wellness-oriented services that can't be done by a vendor. So they can focus on the things that a vendor or software platform can't do. So when you do the math, in our opinion, when you're thinking about wellness challenges, although it may seem like it makes sense to save money by not paying a third party and using spreadsheets, we think if you look at the math, it makes sense to actually do that and invest that time in other places. Hopefully this is helpful. Join us next week for another Whiteboard Wednesday.